Welcome to Spectrum News at 4. I am Rita Enum coming to you live from Rio. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu, top officials honor fallen heroes serving troops at Remembrance Day. Governor Moino announces plans to provide 150 lock-up shops for widows of fallen heroes. Plus, Zelensky declares energy emergency as biting gold persists. Stay tuned for detail of these stories and even more in a moment. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned. We begin the news at this hour from the national scene where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has led other top government officials to honor fallen and serving members of the Nigerian Army at the Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day and its ceremony in Abuja. The AFCRD is celebrated every January 15th to commemorate the sacrifices of both living and dead, both in foreign missions and international security operations. This was followed by the inspection of the Guard of Honor by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented President Bola Tinubu. The Vice President, who laid the wreath at the cenotaph, was accompanied by the Senate President, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Minister of Defense General Christopher Musa, Dean of Diplomatic Corps, and the High Commissioner of Cameroon, Salahuddin Ibrahima. Other dignitaries at the event include the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa, the Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Y.D. Shaubu, and the Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sunday Anike, the Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, and the Inspector General of Police Kayode Igbetokun, the Chief Justice of Nigeria Justice Kudirat Kekereokun, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation George Akume, and the Minister of Defense, amongst others. In a related development, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has applauded the commitment of President Bola Tinubu to building a strong military that is ready to defend the country's sovereignty and tackle the nation's internal security challenges. Speaking today in Port Harcourt at the 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day, the governor commended the president for equipping the armed forces with modern weapons and motivating them with improved welfare packages. The governor vowed that his government would continue to support the federal government, armed forces and other national security agencies in maintaining peace and stability in Rivers and beyond. Fubara called on stakeholders to reflect on the sacrifice and legacy of the armed forces and to collectively express their gratitude to those who paid the supreme price in the service of the nation and to the families of the loved ones they left behind. He described the armed forces as an embodiment of courage, duty and patriotism that had inspired many generations. Meanwhile, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino has announced the comprehensive economic empowerment package aimed at improving the livelihoods of widows of fallen military, police and paramilitary personnel through sustainable income-generating initiatives. Governor Moino, who made the announcement during the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day and its ceremony held at the cenotaph Udodoma Avenue, Uyo, said as part of the initiative, the state government will construct 150 lock-up stores comprising 100 for widows of fallen military personnel and 50 for widows of deceased police officers and other paramilitary operatives. The governor disclosed that beneficiaries would also receive take-off grants to enable them establish and sustain small-scale businesses. Pastor Eno explained that the intervention reflects a deliberate shift from short-term financial assistance to long-term economic empowerment for families of fallen heroes who paid the ultimate price in the service of the nation. According to Governor Eno, construction of the the lock-up stores will commence immediately after the relevant service formations make land available for the project. He added that the coordinator of the Office of the First Lady, the Ministry of Women Affairs and the Bureau of Cooperatives will jointly coordinate and supervise the project to ensure prompt and timely delivery.
Let me thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the decisive manner he's tackling the issues of security challenges in the country. We are all witnesses to the improvements in security all over the nation. Here in Akwa Ibom State, we'll continue to celebrate the peace we have been enjoying. We'll continue to pay glowing tributes to our service commanders, men and officers of the security agencies for working collaboratively to ensure that they keep our state and our borders safe. We'll continue to see politics as a means to serve our people and not a platform to engage in political blood sports. This year, based on our desire to provide a more sustainable and enduring welfare package for those whose loved ones paid the ultimate price, we want to move beyond just donating money to giving the widows a livelihood. And so we commit to building 100 lock-up stores for the widows of the military, 50 lock-up stores for the widows of the fallen police officers and other paramilitary personnel. That will make 150 lock-up stores. On completion, we will support the successful allottees of these stores with take-off grants.
Speaking on national unity and politics, the governor urged leaders to continue to see politics as a platform for service rather than bloodshed. Commending chairmen of political parties for personally attending the remembrance event, he expressed optimism that leaders across party lines would continue to embrace politics of ideas, development and peaceful engagement. Government House correspondent Jane Uwa reports the high point of the event was the symbolic laying of the wreaths at the tomb of the fallen heroes, 21 gun salutes and the release of pigeons. Away from that, Abuja High Court has struck out criminal charges instituted by the federal government against the lawmaker representing Kogi Central, Senator Natasha, effectively bringing to an end a high-profile legal battle that sparked national debate. The court record showed that the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation filed a notice of discontinuance, prompting the court to formally strike out criminal defamation and related charges that had been earlier preferred against the senator. Presiding over the matter on Thursday, Justice C.N. Oji acknowledged the notice and accordingly struck out the case. In his remarks, the judge noted that the development underscored the need for restraint in the exercise of prosecutorial powers. In a separate development, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has commended the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, for signing an agreement which is expected to put an end to the incessant strikes in the nation's public universities. In a statement by Comrade Michael Oyewole, the Chief Press Secretary to the National President, NANS, the association expressed optimism that the agreement would chart a new course for the tertiary education in the country. The landmark agreement signed at the TET Fund Conference Hall in Maitama, Abuja, replaces the outdated 2009 Pact and addresses long-standing issues that have repeatedly disrupted academic calendars through industrial actions. Key highlights include a 40% upward review of academic staff emoluments effective January 1, 2026, the introduction of consolidated academic tools allowance, and the creation of professorial cadre allowances to recognize the critical roles of senior academics. In Africa, voting has begun in Uganda's presidential election. Despite a days-long internet shutdown, there has been criticized as an anti-democratic tactic in the country where the president has held office since 1986. Recall that President Yoweri Museveni, 81, is facing 7 other candidates, including Robert Kyagulanyi, a musician turned politician best known as Bobby Wine, in the election. The East African country of nearly 45 million people has 21.6 million registered voters. According to the Electoral Commission, polls are expected to close at 4 p.m. today, and results are constitutionally required to be announced in 48 hours. And still in Africa, as Madagascar continues its political transition after the ouster of the previous government, it is strengthening cooperation with Russia. According to the Malagasy presidency on Wednesday, Moscow is supplying military equipment to the Indian Ocean nation and has sent a delegation to train armed forces in its use. The training will cover different types of equipment. Various military units based in the capital Antananarivo will take part. The presidency said it is willing to work with all countries, but said historically Madagascar has sourced its military equipment from Russia. On the foreign scene, Ukraine has declared a state of emergency in the country's energy sector, with a particular focus on Kyiv, as ongoing Russian strikes continue to leave thousands of residents without power. President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Moscow of deliberately exploiting the harsh winter conditions as part of its war strategy, with temperatures in Kyiv recently dropping to around -20°C. The declaration comes as Zelensky's U.S. counterpart Donald Trump said he was holding up efforts to secure a peace deal to end nearly 4 years of war with Russia. He told reporters that Ukraine is less ready to make a deal than Russian President Vladimir Putin. And still on the foreign scene, from playing football in the Oval Office to sipping cocktails on the Sun Lounger in Gaza and attacking critics from a fighter jet, Donald Trump has become the first U.S. president to deploy AI-generated imagery as a key tool of political communications. In the first year of his second term in the White House, Trump ramped up his use of hyper-realistic but fabricated visuals on Truth Social and other platforms, often glorifying himself while lampooning his critics, underscoring the strategy's potential appeal to younger voters. Similar AI-driven messaging has also been adopted by other arms of the Trump administration, as well as by some of the president's rivals. And still to come in the news. Super Eagles departs Rabat for Casablanca today ahead third place game. Stay tuned for detail of this story. Many thanks for staying tuned and welcome back to Spectrum News within the hour. Continuing from the business scene, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has commenced nighttime loading operations as it intensifies efforts to sustain a daily supply of more than 50 million litres of premium motor spirit petrol across Nigeria, signaling a major shift to full 24-hour operations at Africa's largest refinery. The move comes as the refinery continues to ramp up production, stabilize logistics and strengthen fuel security, while countering speculation around maintenance activities and supply disruptions originally designed for daytime evacuation. The facility has now expanded loading to night hours to ensure that rising output is matched with uninterrupted offtake. Speaking during a press briefing at the refinery on Wednesday, the managing director, David Bird, said the transition to round-the-clock loading had become necessary to meet market demand and improve turnaround time for product evacuation. Still in business, the power sector lost about 187 billion naira to unbilled energy between July and October 2025, as data from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission revealed that electricity distribution companies failed to issue the amount as bills to customers during the period, underscoring persistent inefficiencies that continue to weaken the industry's liquidity. According to Next Commercial Performance of Distribution Companies fact sheets, the 11 discos received electricity valued at 300.04 billion naira in July, but billed customers only 243.14 billion naira, leaving 54.9 billion naira unbilled and translating to a billing efficiency of 81.04%. In August, billing efficiency improved slightly to 83.85%, but 45.97 billion naira worth of energy was still not billed out of the 284.64 billion naira received. September recorded the best performance within the period, with billing efficiency rising to 86.43%, though losses remained significant at 37.91 billion naira. In health, Osun State government has said about 2 million children in the state within the age bracket of 9 months and 14 years are being targeted for immunization in the forthcoming measles rubella vaccination. This was disclosed by the State Commissioner for Health, Jola Akintola, while addressing the media in Osogbo ahead of the campaign that will be carried out across the 30 local government areas and Modakeke area office. Rubella, also known as German measles, is a contagious viral disease that presents similarly to measles but is generally milder. Symptoms include rash, runny nose, cough, red eyes, red and watery eyes. However, the disease poses serious risk, particularly for pregnant women, and can lead to congenital rubella syndrome, CRS, which may cause blindness, deafness, heart defect, or brain damage in newborns. Still in health, the World Health Organization has called on governments to significantly increase taxes on sugary drinks and alcohol to save lives. Who warns that beverage like sugary drinks and alcohol are too accessible and cost too little in most of the world, helping fuel obesity, diabetes, cancer, and injury, among other findings. The report on sugar-sweetened beverage taxes shows that at least 116 countries tax sugary drinks. It added that sodas or carbonated canned drinks, high-sugar products such as 100% fruit juices, sweetened milk drinks, and ready-to-drink coffees and teas escape taxation. The report on the use of alcohol taxes shows that 167 countries levy taxes on liquor, wine, and beer. It, however, noted that alcohol has become more affordable or remained unchanged in price in most countries since 2022, as taxes do not get adjusted for inflation and income growth. To sports now, where the Super Eagles has departed Rabat for Casablanca today, ahead of their third-placed match with Egypt on Saturday. This was revealed by the team's media officer, Promise Ifugi. According to him, the team departed at 1:45 p.m. The team's spokesperson said there will be a training session later this evening at 6:30 p.m. He added that the session will be open to the media. Still in sports, Super Eagles head coach Eric Shell has said that only the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) can decide his future. Shell signed a 2-year contract with the NFF in January 2025. The 48-year-old was handed a target of getting the Super Eagles to the final of the 2025 African Cup of Nations. Nigeria, however, fell short, losing 4-1 penalties to host Atlas Lions of Morocco in the semi-finals in Rabat yesterday. Shell, however, expressed his desire to continue leading the team. On our entertainment news, Afrobeat singer Davido has lost a $50,000 bet on Nigeria to beat Morocco in the African Cup of Nations semi-final clash on Wednesday, as the Super Eagles lost 4-1 penalties to the Atlas Lions. Hours before the match, the singer posted his bet slip on social media, showing that he placed a $50,000 bet on the Super Eagles to beat Morocco. However, he lost the bet after the game ended in a goalless draw in regulation time. Meanwhile, Popular Nigerian TikToker Pella has cried out after losing a $3,000 bet on Nigeria to beat Morocco in 90 minutes. And that's all we have for you on the news at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rita Inu. Enjoy the rest of your day.